Playful Power, a 7-week embodiment series. The POW practice. Pose with power, outline your boundary, watch respect grow. Dancing in the moonlight, or what I like to call the Keystone Principle. The moon knows something we forgot. The moon doesn't stop influencing Earth when she disappears from the sky. At new moon, when she's invisible, she's still pulling tides, still affecting the rhythm of the ocean, still exerting her gravitational force on everything below. When women feel at our lowest, like all the light has dimmed from our lives and like nothing is going in our favor, our emotions are like this. We look dark. We make others feel sluggish and sleepy. We still have an impact, a huge impact. We can't turn that off no matter how hard they try to make us change. Why? Because our power is constant. What changes is whether we are in rhythm, working with our national rotation or not. But the world in which we live in doesn't care about our need to change and rest and recharge. This world only responds to what ultimately radiates. The sun, man, the masculine, whatever way you want to look at it. It is the way our world responds. When the moon is full, when your emotions mimic the sun, it doesn't suddenly become more powerful. She becomes more penetrating. She reflects light into the darkness. She illuminates what couldn't be seen without her. That is what the feminine does to the masculine. We reveal where there is darkness, first within ourselves and then within others. That's why people fear the feminine. If you dance with the feminine, you'll eventually have to look at your own crap. And for most people, it's simply too hard to do. But if you're a woman like me, I don't feel like I have an option because my heart loves big. I don't want to let you destroy what is good and beautiful in the world because you're afraid to own your own darkness. It's really not that bad, I assure you. You'll feel like you're going to die of shame, but only shame. Feeling that short-term shame is a lot better than the long-term pain of turning against your own inner feminine and creating an increasingly more hostile world. This week, I want to teach you something the moon has always known. Influence and visibility are two separate things, and you get to choose both. Welcome to phase 2 of the Sensual Awakening System. This is where our fiery mastery kicks in. If you've been following the series, you've done something remarkable. You've found your cool, confident core. In week 1, you gathered your energy. In week 2, you learned to scan, enter the fear, and still stand steady. In week 3, you completed your circuit. The feminine embodiment response came online. You built your foundation. You created a contained unit, what people like to call a container or a vessel. Bottom line, you learned how you can stop leaking your own energy. These 3 steps of the Sensual Awakening System teach you how to use your body to still have feelings internally while building the ability to have a cool, confident core. Or at least that is what you can make it look like from the outside. Composure as a baseline, when really you want to scream and yell and cry and destroy things because you know everything is falling apart and no one will allow you the authority or influence to make it better despite you knowing exactly what things need to change in the exact format to make things better. They can't see you. They won't hear you because you're just a girl. So add another layer of tension to our already overworked system. Bring it. Because each time I fall, I only rise higher. Eventually, I'll be so far beyond you that you can never touch me. But that personal win isn't enough. You also want influence because you don't want the future generations to go through this same ridiculousness again. It could be so much easier. Yes, that's it. Fun. Life is meant to be fun. When and why did it become this heavy? None of that matters right now. Right now, let's get back to more joys and passion. Why did we even start fighting in the first place? So now that I've shown you how to survive your strong emotions while having to outwardly appear alluring, containment before contact, now you get to play with it. This is step 4 of the Sensual Awakening System, where you learn to have selectivity and a high standard. We've entered the thriving process. You're no longer just surviving, you're choosing. You leave being controlled and enter the driver's seat. You. Choosing how much of your energy the world gets to see. choosing when to hold and when to shine. When feminine energy is online, when a woman knows how to direct her own flow, how to direct the wave of energy we brought online in step 3, she becomes the cause, not just the effect. The Keystone Principle. In architecture, the keystone is the central stone at the summit of the arch. It's not the biggest stone, it's not the heaviest, but without it, the entire structure collapses. Here's what I've come to understand about women who built their own circuit. You can occupy 2 positions and move fluidly between them. The first of them is what I call the keystone. The keystone is the new moon position. You are influencing everything, holding the structures together, exerting your pull in the room, but you're not broadcasting, and you rarely get recognized for it. Sound familiar? Think Kate Middleton walking into a room. Her pace doesn't change based on who's watching. Her energy appears to arrive a millisecond before she does. Her posture is upright, but not stiff. Her smile doesn't ask for anything. The room settles around her, not because she demands it, but because her nervous system is so steady that the other people's systems want to match it. This is what you feel in your body when you're in keystone mode. Your weight will drop into your feet. Your breath is low and slow. You're not performing, you're just here. There's a quiet, I already belong, underneath everything. Your feminine embodiment response is online. And what others feel around you, it's the calm they can't explain. It's permission to settle. It's trust, even though they just met you. Like things are handled. The phrase that lives in your chest, I belong here. Everything comes to me, and I am happy in doing so. This kind of energy inspires devotion. It is the energy that was previously bestowed to men in our society. That blind devotion is crumbling, so they are now needing to navigate life more and more like women, and their strong emotions are showing because of it. And they're deathly scared that women will treat them the way that they've treated us. But we won't. We're just not like that. We have always and still will always want a win-win. Men can be like the sun. We're not trying to be the sun. Women are the moon internally and the earth externally. So that means we women need to find a way to play smarter, not harder, and I think I know what that is. It's how we build in flexibility between the genders, how things become much more playful, easy, and pleasurable for both. The only possible way that this can happen without adding additional pain, suffering, chaos, and destruction is if we can somehow reach men in a way in which their nervous system is regulated, because the world demands that men hold the line, with a clean desire from us that the world be better for both men and women, and to maintain our polarity with him, with them, without extra pressure. He's already performing most of the time. He just doesn't think he is. We offer relief plus presence, comfort plus presence. This is the language men do not speak, but they certainly understand, and your body is the key. Let me first tell you why the steps of the Sensual Awakening System work. Number 1, it reclaims sensuality as power, not distraction. Sensuality is the one thing that sets women apart from men. It's our core energy source, a natural magnetic force women already carry, but have been taught to hide or downplay. This stops now. Number 2, it works with and not against your feminine energy. Instead of pushing control, perfectionism, or forced outcomes, all masculine-coded strategies, the Sensual Awakening System allows you to tap into the feminine flow, presence, and embodiment with an emphasis on ease and authenticity as your foundation rather than resistance and burnout. Number 3, it provides practical tools for self-regulation. Unlike vague, just be yourself advice, the mechanisms are grounded in psychology and neuroscience to tune into your body, to regulate your nervous systems, and to move energy. I don't always know the exact science, but I've felt it and I've lived through several cycles of it on my own. Number 4, it illuminates joy, pleasure, and passion as non-negotiable anchors. You learn to answer whether you are doing or bringing more joy, and whether you're making life easier. If not, why are you still doing it? If I'm passionate about it, then you can keep going beyond something that's not making you happy or not bringing you more ease. Then the effort might be worth it. But any other response, it's not bringing me more happiness, it's not bringing me more ease, then stop doing it completely or find ways to eliminate as much of it as possible. Who cares about what you should be doing? This isn't making anyone happier than they already would be or making the world a better place. Stop doing the rules around the roles. Step 5, it breaks the cycle by shifting your identity and beliefs at your core. Rather than patching surface symptoms, the Sensual Awakening System lets you see yourself as valuable, powerful, and capable because you are sensual and authentic. It's in the muting of yourself that restricts others from being able to see you. What I'm about to introduce is the way to correct this. It doesn't just treat your inequity, ineffectiveness, or invisibility. It rewires the whole system from energy to mindset to embodiment, turning darkness into light. So what is it? The other mode. If Keystone is one that we all have, the Capstone is your other potential mode of being. The Capstone is your full moon position. Same power, same pull, but now you're letting yourself be seen. You're reflecting your light outward, illuminating the room. Think Sydney Sweeney. She knows you're looking. She's not pretending she doesn't notice, and she's not apologizing for it. Her body moves like it belongs to her, unhurried, unapologetic, and there's warmth in her eyes, but also something that says, I'm letting you see me. This is a gift. She doesn't shrink when eyes land on her. She receives the attention like it's hers to receive, because it is. The importance here, she's not surrendering. She's not submitting. She's taking ownership over her own body. She is the cause. The effect, that's on you. What you feel in your body when you're the Capstone is that your chest is open, your chin lifts slightly, there's electricity in your skin, not anxiety, but aliveness, and you feel generous, not desperate. What others feel around you? Drawn, almost magnetically, a little breathless, captivated, even if they don't know why, like the room just got way more interesting. The phrase that lives in her chest, or your chest when you're being the Capstone, I'm letting you see me. I understand the dynamics. I can adjust at will to ease tensions as needed, and everything will be just fine. The secret, Kate can do both, and so can you. Sydney Sweeney already does both. There are moments when Kate steps into the Capstone, a particular dress, a held gaze, a deliberate pause, when she lets herself be seen, not just felt. And then she steps back into the Keystone, letting William continue his appointed Capstone role as king, because she knows the Keystone mode is her home base. A woman who has built her foundation can take the Capstone crown on and off, and she can do so in service of others. And that is the true beauty of the feminine. We don't have to be the Capstone, but we can be the Capstone when it is in service of the best good. And that is what we have not been allowed or taken leadership over for way too long. We can use it for our own benefit or contribute it to our partner, our teams, the room. A woman who was never taught to build her foundation doesn't have that choice. She's either invisible and exhausted or visible and depleted. She's the Keystone no matter what, but she's not getting recognized for it and certainly not rewarded for it. The Sensual Awakening System builds the foundation for both the Keystone and the Capstone, and she's flexible and fluid in both, therefore allowing her partner to also have some times when he can retreat back and just have that relief, plus presence that we talked about earlier. So it's 2 modes, but 1 flow. This week, I want you to learn how it feels to be in both poles of this skill. You need the ability to move between the 2 modes without ever getting stuck in the negative emotions associated with each. The first pole I call crouching, or building your keystone capacity. It's gathering your energy like we did in the very first step, but you're not stuck. You're not in survival mode. You're storing, because energy has to go somewhere. This is the practice that builds your keystone capacity. You're being strategic. You're reminding yourself that your strength and capacity will be present for you and the greater good when it's needed. Then the flip side is called tracing your lines. It's strategically pressing onward, showing the room exactly how much access they have. This is the practice that builds your capstone capacity. It's reminding yourself of the divinity that you have inside. Others will feel it, but not be able to name it. Best of all, they will not want to disturb or destroy it. The point is flow, like a river, not stagnant, not like a pond. A river that hits a boulder doesn't stop being the river. It gathers, pulls, finds an angle, and then continues on. It's always moving. The movement just changes form. This is what the ability to feel both will give you. You're never frozen, never stuck, never waiting for permission. You're either gathering or revealing, and you can switch between them as fast as the situation demands. Can you see how men haven't been given the capacity to feel their own emotions? And that's what's gotten them stuck, frozen, not able to change on their own. Your body already knows which mode you may need. Here's something I've noticed. When you're out of balance, your coping behaviors will tell you exactly what mode your system is crying out for. Signals you need to crouch or gather, conserve, store more power are when you want to binge watch TV or movies, endless scrolling, oversleeping or unable to get out of bed, isolating, avoiding people, feeling depleted, empty, like you've got nothing left to give. Those behaviors signal your energy is scattered or spent, and you need to gather before you can extend. The signals that you need to trace your lines, your boundaries, or maintain your standards would be excess spending, drinking more than usual, overgiving, overeating, overhelping, overexplaining, saying yes when you mean no, feeling resentful, taken advantage of, or invaded. These behaviors signal your energy is leaking out or things are getting into territory where they shouldn't. You need to establish where you end and where the world begins, because right now it's blurred lines. Instead of asking, how do I feel, which can be hard to answer when you're depleted, ask, what am I doing to cope? That will tell you which mode you need to practice. Just to note, these are only training moves. These are things that you're going to do inside. You're not going to go out in the world and crouch around the world like a tiger. But you need to feel this kind of lioness energy. It's that place you will draw from when it's needed. These are training moves, a way to build your energetic capacity in your body so it becomes available to you in real life. Think of them like scales for a pianist. You practice them at home so that the music flows naturally once you're performing. They're still survival skills, but you're learning to adjust your angle, changing the vectors so that you can go out and redirect your energy. Master them inside, and then execute the energy that they hold later on. So crouching is building your keystone capacity. The animal that survives winter doesn't waste energy. She conserves, she waits. She knows when to be still and when to spring. You're building integrity, and integrity amplifies your power when you decide to use it. This is layering your truth to your innate power. It only works when there's no deception, no talking yourself into being strong, not convincing yourself what you deserve, not listening to what other people think, but tapping into your inner wisdom. You're not strategically withholding love in order to hurt someone because you secretly want security, but you're performing detachment like, oh, I don't really need you, but secretly I want you to come running back to me. Those are all things that make your system leak anxiety, and the masculine will sense it and use it against you every time. This is why you can't play power games. Play is the delivered product, but the inner game is anything but a game. It's survival, and you, my dear, are learning how to manage both. Get in the crouching position and let the emotions follow later. By taking time to pause before you speak or act with it is to allow it to become stored power. How do you do this? By learning to enjoy intensity without assigning it meaning. That's what's happening. When you're crouching and scanning and feeling the nuance in your body, you are storing the energy so that when it comes up and out of you later, it's a clear channel for whatever desire is coming, which is going to be the desire for the best outcome for everyone involved, because that's who we are as women. Why does this work? Because it dissolves pressure, it restores your polarity, and it creates a sense of relief. You stop asking, how do I please him to keep him, etc. You start living as, I know how to be here without losing myself. This is Keystone mode. What others feel is a tension, an interest, a passion that stays alive. The field around you feels electric, and the flow keeps the connection clean, and it feels like a breath of fresh air. The position, you get into a deep squat, kneel facing outward, maintain the open body language, even while low, close to the ground. Your straight is going to be back, your shoulders wide, and you can rest your arms on your legs. This is not a collapse. You are top-centric, just like our world, while connected to the earth. You're a lioness scanning the terrain. Top-centric is the masculine approach this world accepts. Grounded and connected to the earth is the feminine approach the world needs. What you're doing energetically, you're gathering. Your circuit is running. Your energy is pooling. You're not leaking it outward. You're holding it in, compressing it, honing it. You're creating tension and relief simultaneously by staying emotionally self-contained while remaining safe to eventually be able to have warmth and availability. You're teaching yourself to know how to be safe and available within your own limits. The deeper teaching, crouching appears like regression. You look like you're going into attack mode or into a stance of giving up. You're going down when everyone says you should be rising, but you're only doing so momentarily to get even more power. This embodies wholeness, grounded and ready, soft and dangerous. Dangerous only to the status quo. When I learned in the exotic dance classes, the lioness doesn't announce the hunt. What I understand now, the lioness maintains her standard. Presence and audacious action, courageous because she knows her internal, her external, and the laws of the universe, relational dynamics that are all aligned in her favor when she speaks truth to her power. Okay, now the opposing pole, tracing your lines, building the capstone capacity. When your circuit is strong and your energy is cycling, you can direct flow outward, strategically pressing onward while instantly detecting whether to proceed or hold. Think of proceeding as standing up out of the crouching position. You still look like the same person you were before, but internally you are now a force, not a confused mix of emotional energies. You've rejected society's limitations on you. You've decided you are the cause. You are significant. You matter. You are lifting your head, restoring your soul to its rightful position in divine alignment with Mother Earth. And when you feel as if your feet are energetically grounded to the earth and the light of truth is elevating from bottom to top with your internal awakening of your significance, then you become the cause. You have raised your consciousness, and the divinity must participate in lifting you from your limitations. Trust this completely. Whatever higher power you believe in, they don't want you to be anything less than the significant person you were placed on this earth to be. Let the earth remind you that you are the cause. What it looks like. This can be as simple as hands relaxed by the side of your body, open, available, signaling receptivity and invitation. Or it can be a palm out gesture, not aggressive, but clear, a boundary that doesn't need words. What you're doing energetically, you practice the acknowledgement of your divinity through tracing your lines internally. Mirror work to yourself, for yourself, is an important practice here. In public, you're extending your presence outward through your posture, your gesture, your gaze. You're knowing the room and which direction the energy is flowing and how much force it carries. You become the vector. You are direction plus magnitude, influence plus visibility. You choose both. All you have to do is open a small gate for which you can escape the downward moving energy. That brings us to the POW practice. You pose with power, the energy that you've stored up from your crouching position. You choose the position based on your current reality, which means it could be in the periphery, conserving your energy, or it could be in external facing, remembering your energies that you practiced in private. Crouching, the deep squat, the knees out, back straight, shoulders wide, arms resting on legs, scanning the terrain. Feel the energy compressing, storing, waiting, even though you're just standing by the side. It's active participation despite looking like you're doing nothing at all. Or you could be tracing, standing in a vertical line, in the center of the room, observing what others are saying or doing, feeling your circuit running, letting your hands, your posture, your subtle movements communicate your boundary or invitation. Open palms receptive, turned palms retreat, redirecting. Then you outline your boundaries. Once you've established the energy, whether the crouching or tracing, you're establishing where you end and the world begins. Now you outline your boundaries actually means that you remember your divinity within. Once you recognize and accept your own divinity, which you can think of simply as your significance, you're inserting it into this situation. Others will need to recognize it too. It doesn't mean the struggle ends immediately, but it means that power starts to shift. You stand there with an expectation or an assumption that you are significant and included in this equation. This is what this week is all about. In the crouch that you practice, your boundary is compressed energy field. Nothing gets in without your permission. In the trace, your boundary is active. You're showing the room exactly how much access they have. Practice feeling that with the subtle gestures or movements. Your body is the key. Do you shift from one leg to another? Do you uncross your arms if you've been crossing them? Do you maybe even stretch strategically? A very powerful move. There can redirect energy back to you and the assumption that I can be and will be included in this conversation. And then W, watch respect grow. People will respond differently when you direct your energy consciously, not because you demanded respect, but because you embodied it. The crouch communicates, I'm not available for chaos right now. I'm conserving, approach with care, or communicating the trace, I see you, and I'm deciding how much of me you get. The geometry and your nervous system. In week 1, we talked about the triangle, which was stability and integrity, as we did the COR practice. In week 2, it was the line, the vertical axis, the alignment, when we did the SEA practice. And then in week 3, it was the wave, your heart rate variability, the oscillation and flow within ourselves for the very first time with the FER practice. And now this week, we're talking about the vector, which is a specialized angle with this practice, which is the POW practice. A vector isn't just a line, it has direction and magnitude. We're learning how to adjust to what life is bringing in the very moment. When you crouch, you're compressing your vector, shortening it, shortening the magnitude, waiting to release it in a chosen direction. And when you trace your lines, you're extending your vector, showing the room which direction your energy flows and how much force it carries. This is what separates a woman who reacts to energy from a woman who directs it. Your nervous system knows the difference, and when you're reacting, you're in sympathetic overdrive, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. But when you're directing, you're in a coherent flow, calm, alert, powerful. The vector is how you stop being pushed around by life and start steering it. So this week's practice, daily, I want you to practice both positions. In the morning, start in the crouch. Feel yourself gathering. Let your circuit run. Scan your internal terrain. What needs conserving today? Before interactions, choose your trace, open or boundaried, receptive or redirecting. Let your energy communicate before you speak. And then in the evening, return to whichever position your day required most. Honor what you needed. Learn from it. Learn to adjust so that you can hone the practice in the field day after day. Notice what changes when you pause to check in with your body before your default to whatever the room demands. Did you feel how you were able to change the temperature of the room? And the deeper teaching, by week 4, you've learned that to feel both poles, which is really teaching you how to switch directions. You can gather or extend. You can have subtle visibility and influence. You can read the terrain, choose your mode, and stay in your flow. This is what keeps you from becoming stagnant, from getting stuck in survival permanently or burning out by always pushing forward. The river doesn't choose one mode. It responds to the landscape while never stopping. Now and only now, you're ready to extend toward new goals without losing yourself. This is why embodied wholeness matters beyond your own life. With wholeness, we have the ability to not only fix, but make better for everyone the world we live in. Learn how to create the gates to all that is good. As women, you know the moment. You've mustered up enough courage to tell a man in your life all the angles you've analyzed and how you've reached the conclusion you've reached about how if he simply did X, Y, or Z, that things would be better for everyone. And you've shown him the path to the gate and even how to open it. But then he builds a wall to block that very path. You inhale in frustration, you exhale in disappointment, and you actually feel your eyes roll back in your head as part of you dies. And the fires go out relationally. Yep, been there too, many times. He refuses to be led by you because you're a woman. I don't want to discuss anything more about that this week. But the moment we're in shows you it all. Here's something that might give you some hope. The world is catching up to what you're learning. This week in Women's Health UK, they named the vagus nerve the body part protagonist for 2026, calling it the communication highway between brain and body that dictates whether you feel calm or edgy. The chaos and upheaval in the world is because now men are feeling edgy most of the time, like a woman whose safety is not assured. The systems are no longer working for them either. Somatic experts are predicting that the nervous system regulation will move from the alternative of essential to valued as a true marker of health and resilience. So if you're interested in learning this work, you're not behind, you're actually ahead of the curve. What you've been building, the circuit, the ability to direct your own energy is exactly what women everywhere are beginning to realize they need. You're just getting there first. So dancing in the moonlight, the moon doesn't apologize for going dark. She's still pulling tides. And when she's full, she makes the night beautiful without competing with the sun. She reflects, she amplifies, she illuminates what couldn't be seen without her. That's capstone energy. And you now have access to it. It's not something all women will want or understand, and that's okay. For those of you who do, wield it honorably. Women will always be the keystone, the invisible pool, the settled presence, the reason the rooms feel safe even when no one else can explain why. That's the feminine. The maternal, the effect of our emotions on our body, Mother Earth. So why choose to use it relationally, not just for your own benefit? Because the tension of a hierarchical linear system has become too much for our world to handle. The world needs to get back into rhythm. And because we love men, we always have and always will. We don't do it only because we have sons. We do it because it is what is right and good. Next week, the Imitation begins. You've gathered your energy in week 1. You've learned to scan and enter the fear, but yet stood steadily in your own strong emotions. Week 3, you've completed the circuit, got it back online. You've learned to investigate both poles this week between gathering your energy and counting yourself in as significant and worthy. We've stoked the fires. Do you feel like getting warmer in here? And now you're ready for the next phase of the fiery mastery, the Imitation. So next week, we'll learn to push and pull the energy, the first diplomatic overture, testing if our authenticity will be allowed, creating a lore, not through performance, but through self-recognition and self-acceptance, from overflow, not depletion, showing the world what thriving looks like. Watch the practice because it's hard to learn movement from a newsletter. This is where the real teaching happens. You can watch it with this link now. You'll need the password, Feminine Intelligence. It's time you remembered your power. You can listen to what I have to say or not, because I'm just a girl. But until the next time, be free, be happy. Tammy.